This is Mr. MegaManFan. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. You know all the things to do. Today's video is sponsored, but not by any commercial entity. It's sponsored by Mrs. MegaManFan, who bought me the contents of this box for Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. We're going to take a look at what's inside. You may remember that a while back I did a video where I showed off the Watara Supervision. It is a very strange competitor to the Game Boy that came out in the 90s and was commercially a failure, at least in the United States. But it's still a fascinating system with a fascinating selection of games that are in large part a knockoff of Game Boy games, but there are a few original titles. This is MegaManFan did the impossible, and for Christmas, she found me a Watara Supervision and a whole bunch of games. In fact, she found 15 total, 14 in their original plastic packaging, which looks like it was designed for a hanging tab at a retail store, and one that was loose. This is more physical Watara Supervision games than I've ever seen in my life. It's entirely possible that I saw one or two at a retro gaming convention over the years, but not 15 in one shot available at one time from one store. So Mrs. MegaManFan picking up all of these games and a console for $175 is pretty amazing. And I think that was money very well spent. Thank you, dear. I appreciate you so much. This is going to be a fun video about a very obscure retro handheld. We're going to see how the original real Watara Supervision compares to playing it through emulation. I suppose there's no better way to start than to have a one-to-one comparison of a game. And she's got a whole lot of games here, so Classic Casino. You know what, why don't we start with that? Let's see if I've got Classic Casino on here. Let's go back to the core settings. Load cartridge. Classic Casino. For the first time ever, I'm playing a real Watara Supervision instead of emulating it. That's how the cartridges slot into the back. Model number 9205, rating 6 volt, complies with Part 15 of FCC rules, made in China. The on-off switch is at the top here, that'll focus up for us. High quality stereo sound, so they claim. If you have a power adapter that has DC6 and the correct pin orientation, you can plug it in there. There's a headphone jack at the bottom. And on this other side here, we have a communications port and a volume dial. All right, let's turn it on. Supervision. Yeah, things are not looking so good here. Okay, I think that's enough of Casino. Obviously, there are no missing lines playing it in emulation, but that's just how it goes when you're playing a classic game console. Let's look for something that's a little more action-oriented. All right, Delta Hero, let's see what you're made of. The camera is casting a little more light on the screen, but not so much so that I couldn't play it without. And you can definitely tell there's a line of pixels missing here, but still, given the age of this thing being at least 30 years old or thereabouts, it's impressive that there's only one line missing as opposed to many. So let's do a side-by-side comparison here. It's not the worst. It's obviously not backlit, but again, not terrible. Let's play the game. It seems like my life force is constantly draining. That's no good. Is there some way to pick up these items? They look like they'd be health of some kind. Well, there we go. You just stand next to it and hit the B button, you pick it up. And you shoot enemies to kill them, so there's that. So I've picked up $3, I'm not poisoned, and I'm in the first area. I think if I was going to play this more than a few minutes, I would probably do it on the pocket. But let's see if it actually has less screen artifacting when you move. Yeah, it's a lot clearer playing it on the pocket, although it still jitters when you scroll, but you can make out all the sprites much more clearly. Couldn't even tell that that was money on the other version, but I can here. Alright, I think it's time to try a different game. I wonder if anybody's ever tried to make a Crix EverDrive for a Watara Supervision. Probably not. Hall of Fame, Omar Suarez, Frank Lopez. All of these names are from the movie Scarface. Did you catch that? That cracks me up. Why would they use the names of characters from the movie Scarface? I have no idea. Oh, I don't know if shooters are the right kind of games to play on this system. Let me see if I can adjust the contrast a little more. That helps a little bit. But wow, do you get a lot of blur when the enemies are coming at you. Yeah, once again, it's much easier to tell what the heck you're doing with the much improved backlight resolution, etc. It almost doesn't seem to be any motion blur when you play it this way. I mean, maybe a little, but nothing compared to the LCD matrix of the actual Supervision itself. I gotta say, this is probably the best way to play Supervision games if you're going to play them is on an analog pocket, because it's got the right form factor to hold it in your hand, and the display is so much brighter and crisper. This wasn't meant to be an advertisement for the analog pocket. This was just going to be a side-by-side comparison. Manolo, shoot that piece of... Yeah. Why did they do that? That's just ridiculous. I don't know what they were thinking. Probably they were thinking we can get away with it because nobody cares. What challenge do you have in store for us, Challenger Tank? This is a tank battle game. You are commander of the latest battle tank. Okay, they used the word tank to explain what the game is twice. Let's get this open. Let's see your challenge. Press start key. Well, it's definitely not a 3D tank. This is more like a very slow-moving vertical shooter. It's auto-scrolling. I'm not even moving around the screen. It's just scrolling on its own. Yeah. Their idea of tank warfare here is just an incredibly slow auto-scroller. So let's see how it looks over here. Yeah, it's much easier to see what's going on now. Now I can see that I'm actually rotating a turret. Well, I guess other tanks can take you out just by running into you. Isn't that fun? You can only rotate the turret one way. There's no way to rotate it the other direction. Well, that's the Watara Supervision. This is Mr. MegaManFan saying thank you, Mrs. MegaManFan. Thank you all for watching. Hope you're having a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I'll see you again soon. But bye for now.